Hi, welcome back to the Chemical Reactions Unit in Science 1206. I'm Miss Ledwell, and in this video, we'll talk about lab safety. Let's begin. When using chemicals and other substances, always check the container for any warnings. The Workplace Hazardous Material Information System, known as WHMIS, is a government-regulated system that provides health and safety information on hazardous products. There are three main components to WHMIS. The first is labeling. Labels with symbols, called pictograms, provide warnings about the dangers of the product. The next component is safety sheets. Safety data sheets, abbreviated SDS, provide detailed information about the product. These sheets are created by the product supplier. The third component is worker and education training. Appropriate training is mandatory for those who work with or are in close contact with controlled products. Every hazardous product must have a supplier label that provides information about the dangers of the product. This label has 6 parts. It must state the name of the product, pictograms that represent the hazards. You'll notice on the label on the image to the side, there are 2 pictograms highlighted in red. The first is a skull and crossbones, and the second an exclamation mark. There'll be a signal word. On this label, the signal word is danger, and that emphasizes some of the hazards of the product. There'll be hazard statements, precautionary statements, for example, telling you how to protect yourself from the product. For example, you may need to wear gloves. And there'll be supplier information. Who made the product? How do you contact the supplier? Now let's take a look at those pictograms we were talking about, the WHMIS symbols. The WHMIS symbols include explosions or reactivity hazards, fire hazards, oxidizing hazards. I remember this one because there's an O underneath the flames, O for oxidizing. Gases under pressure. I find this one easy to remember because it looks kind of like a propane tank. Corrosive material that can cause damage to metals, skin, and eyes. If you look closely at the picture, you can see the metal being worn away and part of the hand being worn away, and that reminds me that it's corrosive. The skull and crossbones means can cause death or toxicity with short exposure. This symbol means may cause serious health effects. The exclamation mark means may cause less serious health effects or damage to the ozone layer. And this one's easy to remember as well. It kind of shows a fish on its side. This one means may cause damage to aquatic environments. And the last one shows the 3 kind of interlocked circles, and that means biohazardous infectious materials. And this is for organisms or toxins that can cause diseases in people or animals. You may have noticed in some washrooms they'll have a box on the wall. It's usually yellow or orange color, and it's for sharps like needles, and that box will have a biohazardous symbol on the front of it somewhere. Now let's look at safety data sheets. Every hazardous product must also have a safety data sheet. This sheet gives more information than the safety label. The information provided on the safety data sheet includes more detailed information about the hazards of the product, how to work safely with the product. For example, you may need to wear a mask. Information on exposure to a hazardous product. What will exposure do to your body? And what to do in an emergency. For example, do you induce vomiting? Now it's time to continue to the next video. Before you press play on the next video, make time for a brief break. Stretch your legs, take a breath, and prepare to resume our journey into the world of chemistry.